I reorganized my studio recently, and when I was putting all of my sketchbooks back, I was struck by how much I've actually done this year. These are all the books I've worked in. They're not all full, but most of them are pretty close. And, I had a chance to go through them and really see the work I've done in the last year and how it's changed and what I've learned and how I can apply that to a project I'm working on. So I'm going to make some videos where I flip through some of these, not all of them, and talk a little bit about what I've been thinking about and what I might work on next. And if that sounds interesting, then I'll see you in the next video. This is Humphrey. I'm showing you a newer collage book, but I wanted to start off by talking about my relationship with sketchbooks. I started using them about 10 or 11 years ago, and at first I really loved them. I was new to making art. I had no confidence in my abilities. I didn't really like what I was doing, but I felt very compelled to keep going, and having a place where I could literally close the book and put it away and not share it was very freeing and really helped me get started on my journey. Eventually I found the idea of urban sketching and keeping a visual diary, and I loved doing that for a few years. I really loved having a ready-to-go subject matter that I could turn to while I practiced my kind of wonky personal drawing style. Eventually, it stopped being fun and started to feel like work. I felt like I was supposed to be working in them every day, or I was feeling that everything needed to be beautiful and Instagram worthy, or I was feeling it became really intimidating, and I stopped using them regularly for probably a couple of years. But I found myself really missing them, and I thought, okay, if that's not for me, then what should I be doing? What's next? I had a yoga teacher say to really pay attention to the poses that we love to do, but also to pay attention to the poses that we hated, and to take some time to ask ourselves why. What did that mean? Where was that coming from? And that's something I think of a lot and apply to other parts of my life. And I really applied it to the concept of collage a little over a year ago when a coworker mentioned that she loves doing collage, and I had this really strong visceral reaction to the idea of me making a collage. I felt afraid. I felt like I didn't know how to do it. I would try, I would fail, I would feel shame, people would hate me. I really went down this wild spiral over something that could not have lower stakes. What triggered that reaction? And I have some ideas, and I might share those later, but for now I'll just say I started ripping up paper and gluing it together and found that I loved it. It came at a time when life was getting really hard. There were a lot of medical issues in my family and friends, issues in our community. There was a lot of stress and anxiety and worry and heartache, and I was doing my best to show up for people, to be present. I didn't have time for a personal art practice, but I felt the desperate need to create. Collage really showed up for me. It helped my mental health. It deactivated the part of my brain that is constantly worried and wondering and judging, and I was able to just sit and make things and feel better and go back to the real world and continue to try to show up for my family and my community. And these are the artifacts of that journey.